the headlines, the Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination completed the validation workshop for the Solomon Islands LDC graduation smooth transition strategy. Solomon Islands Meteorological Services says the bad weather experienced throughout the country is due to two low-pressure systems. And Sinu and Melbourne University signed an MOU formalizing the working relationship shared between both universities. Hello, you're watching SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Eliza Kukutu. The Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination recently completed the validation workshop for the Solomon Islands Least Developed Country LDC Graduation Smooth Transition Strategy STS. The workshop brought together key stakeholders including government officials, development partners, private sector representatives, and civil society organizations. Delivering his remarks, Minister of National Planning, Rexon Ramufafia, said the workshop is important as it allows information sharing which will support the implementation and sustainability of the strategy.
In preparation of LDC graduation, Solomon Island government through my ministry in collaboration with the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asian Pacific, the UNESCAP, and the National Technical Advisor has developed the draft Solomon Island Smooth Transition Strategy STS. A series of consultations has been conducted with government line ministry, development partner, the private sector, and other stakeholders. The STS integrated into the national planning framework aligned with our National Development Strategy 2016 to 2035 and with targeted measures identified to supplement existing plan and strategy to mitigate the expected impacts of graduation. In particular, graduation-specific measures to be implemented by the government that are not currently covered in the existing plan. And especially we really want, once the country graduates, some key projects, like example, the Bina tuna processing project must be started or it must be happen before the country must graduate. So I also play a critical role to make sure that this project must be happen, and it's something that I also want our development partner to take note of that. Therefore, in the process to finalizing the draft STC, this validation workshop is very important since it is an avenue for information sharing and mostly importantly for here present to provide feedback to the validated draft to ensure it is credible, effective, and inclusive. Additionally, it will aid to foster understanding and ownership among stakeholders to support effective implementation and sustainability of the STS going forward.
The STS aligns with the Solomon Islands National Development Strategy and incorporates targeted measures to address potential impacts of LDC graduation. SIBC News understands Solomon Islands is scheduled to graduate from the LDC category in 2027. Now, two low-pressure systems situated south of the Solomon Islands are causing widespread bad weather across the country. Sharon now reports.
The bad weather experienced throughout the country is due to two low-pressure systems. Solomon Islands Meteorological Service weather forecaster Lenny Olea says in an interview with SIBC News. He said the low-pressure systems are situated south of the Solomon Islands.
The past weather in experiencing go a few days here and associate with him low depressions in Mr. looking low screen this time. Yeah? Now immigrant to fall low this time, yeah, to fall low this time. And have not causing this fall bad weather for Yumi, rain and strong wind here. So if you're looking that flow blow air and come over the country, just for feeding the two fall low pressure systems, low south, low Solomon Islands, that is close low New Caledonia and Vanuatu. So these low depressions now causing bad weather for Yumi. As we move far away from Yumi, weather blame start to improve. This one in the current satellite image, the point where me point go lohemia, the position of that fella low pressure, yeah? And there is a band of cloud that associates with the low pressure system. Him still overlook country Yumi. Now you saw hearing that there's a trough lies over the country, and you can see within the trough there's a band of cloud that is causing rain for Yumi.
Mr. Olea says the current low-pressure system is associated with the country's current rainy and cyclone season. He says Makira, Temotu and Renal and Bellona province currently bears the brunt of the bad weather given they are located close to the low-pressure systems.
As similar tropical cyclone season or rain season Yumi, look at the kind of low-pressure systems also. You start looking low screen. Hemis have causing bad weather for Yumi Solomon Islands, and in worst to worst, if we meet in category of tropical cyclone, then we will give him a tropical cyclone warning. But at the moment, I'm still low depression and I'm still far away from Yumi. Him no more causing kind weather also. Side strong wind. I guess I looking low there. Strong wind, him still stop for Renal, Makira and Temotu, and this for a strong wind, hence associate with him that for a low depression where him stuff far away from Yumi now, and make sure that soon by him cancel out. Let's check for Thursday tomorrow. You looking that there's only 10 knots winds there. Friday tomorrow, most part of the country, me see him all right, especially for, except for Renal Bellona, Makira and Temotu, by experiencing strong wind. Low depression areas, or the low pressure areas, The provinces that are very close to the low pressure systems are Renal Bellona, Makira and Temotu. And him now causing C for rough heat for three provinces here as we saw on the screen.
Sharon Nanau, SIBC TV.
SINU and Melbourne University signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU marking the start of a deeper partnership aimed at expanding collaboration between the two institutions. Sharon Nanau files this story.
The Solomon Islands National University and Melbourne University yesterday signed a Memorandum of Understanding in Honiara. The MOU formalizes the working relationship shared between both universities and aims to deepen and expand collaboration work between them. In his remarks at the MOU signing, SINU's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Transform Agorau, said the MOU marks a new milestone in the National University's efforts to become one of the top universities in the region.
Like many MOUs, it's a signature on a piece of paper. But I'd like to encourage us to ensure that it is more than just a signature on a piece of paper, that we put a lot of meat and beef into this MOU and make it happen for the Solomon Islands National University, but more importantly for the people of Solomon Islands. As I was explaining to us yesterday, that in Solomon Islands here we face a lot of development challenges that we need as a university to try and help the government and help the people find solutions to the many development problems that we are confronting as a young nation. And therefore I'm looking towards these kind of partnerships are important to help develop the capacity that we have here at the university, but also to help us find solutions. As I've always said, it's our responsibility at the university to help find solutions to our economic and social health problems, the myriad of problems and challenges that our communities are facing. But we can't do these things on our own. We don't have all the answers to many of the problems. Ideas don't recognize any boundaries.
Meanwhile, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne, Professor Michael Wesley, said they hope to increase their engagement with SINU through the MOU.
I'm delighted to be here in Honiara on behalf of the University of Melbourne today. The University of Melbourne places engagement with communities in the region at the centre of our global engagement. Our purpose? To benefit society through the transformative impact of education and research, and through our global strategy Advancing Melbourne Globally, where we have set out our commitment to be a hub of knowledge and research for Asia and the Pacific region. It's with great excitement that we are signing this MOU with Solomon Islands National University. We have so many interests in Solomon Islands, many of them represented by my colleagues with us today. But it's our intention to use this MOU to vastly increase the University of Melbourne's engagement with Solomon Islands. There are a number of things that I'm hoping to talk to Dr. Transform about, including student exchange, staff exchange, mutual learning, and so much more.
Sharon Nanal, SIBC TV.
More than 50% of cancer cases being treated at the National Referral Hospital are palliative cases. Oncologist specializing in cancer at NRH, Dr. Andrew Sommer, told SIBC News that most cases present late due to people relying on herbal medicine before accessing medical care at health facilities.
I think from what the cases we treating, we looking that more than 50% of cancers we treating are palliative, which means what a late case, for cure him, just for make him extend him life or make him comfortable, which him some that most of the people blame me. I think he may present late. I think there are maybe a few reasons for that. I think one of the main one notice him now is people find out cancer or go custom medicine first time. So one of the number one cause of late presentation when we look him now that one I think what I detect him what I go do him some custom treatment go by the time what I come him late now.
He said lack of information on how to access health services is also a reason as to why most patients present late diagnosis.
I think another one too, I think a lack of information, yeah, so people not aware, because usually cancer, early stage blame him not painful, yeah. Even like example, breast lump, him no pain. So usually, attitude blame people Solomons. Something him pain and bother him, you mean, before you may just go seek him medical attention. So I think him too another second reason why me looking at a late presentation.
Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Solomon Islands is set to implement a new reintegration strategy for returned migrant workers this year. Alex Dadamu with the details.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade will be implementing a reintegration strategy for returned Solomon Islands migrant workers this year. This was confirmed by the Director for Labour Mobility Unit of the Ministry, Ms. Christina Marau. Her statement comes after a survey released by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, shows that 59% of returned migrant workers were unable to find a job upon their return to the country. Ms. Marau explains the strategy will look at opportunities where returned workers can explore.
Foreign Affairs have come up with a reintegration strategy, and we are implementing it this year, looking mostly when they come home, what are some of the opportunities government is looking for them to invest more savings and also creating job opportunities for them back in country. But also looking at the bigger picture in our economy currently. I think last year there's only 2,400 jobs advertised nationally, both for private and national government. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, our minimum wage will always lose because it's $8 compared to minimum wage in Australia and New Zealand. So the program will always be win at the end of the day. If it comes down to someone giving opportunity cost there, like for an average Solomon Islander, if them choose for GOLO program, then stay back, they will always choose to go on labor mobility programs. But we in the reintegration strategy, we have quarterly return worker events where when they return, then we host these return worker events where we can invite YEXI and all the other stakeholders just to give them information on what possible options they would have to venture into other opportunities rather than banking on labor mobility for the rest of their lives. So this is something that we are planning to implement this year.
Meanwhile, IOM Program Manager Natalie Hanley says that only 20% of returned workers have been able to find a job when they return.
55% of workers were employed prior to migration. When they returned, only 20% of workers that we surveyed said that they had found employment. 59% of workers specifically said that it was a challenge for them to find a job or an income-generating activity when they returned. Another key one is that almost all of the workers reported gaining new skills in the country of destination, which is fantastic. But few of them, only about half of them, were actually able to apply those skills when they returned in Solomon Islands. So either because, in the work that they found, there wasn't any demand for the skills that they'd learned, or that they haven't been able to find an appropriate job opportunity where they could apply those skills.
Alex Tadamu for SIBC TV.
The Miss Pacific Islands pageant is in full swing with contestants engaging in a week of community visits following the official launch on Sunday. Sharon now reports.
The Miss Pacific Islands pageant is in full swing with contestants conducting visits throughout the week. Following the event's official launch on Sunday, contestants have conducted various community engagements, including visits to the National Referral Hospital, the Solomon Islands National University, and the Solomon Islands Port Authority. The contestants were also treated to dinner by stakeholders and the government, receiving praise from the Prime Minister, Honourable Jeremiah Manele.
Our people take great pride in our heritage, our traditions, and our land. As we welcome all of you to our shores, we celebrate our Pacific connections, knowing that we are bound together by shared values, mutual respect, care for our environment, and the importance of family and community.
More visits are scheduled for this week following a lineup of exciting events, including the pre-pageant interview, the float parade, and the much-anticipated crowning night on Saturday. 8 contestants are competing in this year's pageant with visions of addressing pressing issues in the region through the platform.
For me personally, the Miss Bird of Paradise crown is a crown for service. We specifically focus on children with disabilities, and just being part of the Miss Pacific pageant, it's going to give me that platform to be able to advocate for their rights.
The identity of women being an issue in the Pacific is the influence of these external factors that make their way in by technology. So I'll speak for my country, at least, of American Samoa. The evolution of the Tamaitai Samoa or the Samoan woman is very evident. It's very prevalent where I'm from, due to Western influences, of course, and I'm sure the Western influence makes their way all across the Pacific, and is the reason that I believe that it will be a pressing issue.
I think the message that I would really like to portray, not just for our Pacific girls, but our Solomon Island girls in particular, since we're all here, and I believe that all the girls will really see themselves in the 8 of us beautiful contestants here, being a very diverse and multicultural country. I really want them to see the unity and the strength that comes in uniting as sisters, and the sisterhood is more important than the competition that we are here for.
The crowning night will see the reigning Miss Pacific Islands, Moimoana Schwenki, pass on the crown to the winning contestant after a year of carrying the prestigious title. She describes her time as the Miss Pacific Islands as a fulfilling experience.
It's one of the highest honors in my life thus far, and I think I've grown so much more, not only as a woman but as a Pacific person, uncovering more about myself through the travels through the Pacific, through meeting new Pacifica people, through learning more about the history and the culture. It's honestly been a highlight, and I would say this competition and this platform, it's very empowering for our region. It might come in the shape and form of a pageant, but it's so much more than that.
Sharon Nanau, SIBC TV.
The Guadalcanal provincial government reports land issues remains a challenging issue for the province. Premier Honorable Willie Atu told SIBC News that alienated land issue is one of the complex issues faced by his government. He said despite the challenges faced, solving the province's land issue remains a priority for his government.
Meaning like this, that land where also, let me give an example of levers. Yeah, also, you will have finished that levers in the process of liquidation. Yeah, so time also, we will Guadalcanal province submit him claim lomival too. Yeah, because property rates were outstanding and go costing millions now, even 47 millions to be precise. Where also me make a submission go. Yeah? But if we go past 2 years. So meaning like this, that suppose I'm also, what now about, because you're looking, what now what they're doing? It's a challenge. There are other land within Guadalcanal where I'm alienated land. Yeah. Suppose government or have no service or some development, we're looking one policy from it should rightly go back to the traditional landowners. But also, the one of hiccup or parcel there now also. Even people or landowners, traditional, but of dispute of that area too. Yeah. So I'm hard landed. So meaning like this, suppose ask Blumina is suppose or the give come the province, and province also and become a stakeholder law that area where they disagree with him. But what suppose the come the court or what local council chief or they decide him. And also agree that who now probably that then it can be headed back. I prefer the land where the government currently have no any development line.
Honorable Atu said the problem of squatter settlements in the province's land is also one issue faced. He said this has negatively impacted the property rate collection fees. He adds the development of big private businesses without the provincial government's knowledge is also a growing concern for his executive.
Because very appreciating the many of the developments this time with the goal of east as well, or the goal of political boundary of Guadalcanal. Yeah. And also there are people where also got title of land, but there are many squatters in those land as well. So time will go asking for property rates, about the sales and Bible no give property rates, but there are squatters living in my land. But also that one I'm against in law. Yeah. Meaning that time you own him that land also you got entitled to him responsibility, and you should also respect him and give him what is due to Guadalcanal province. It's not our responsibility to go and take him out of the squatters. It is your responsibility. Money you own him land legally. Yeah, that's the first point. Second point is there are lots of developments also in law seashore up the frontier. Also suppose you looking at high water marks, yeah, meaning that it's customary owned, and also G province must be involved in a party to it as well, plus all the traditional landowners. So sometimes all the aquarium without the coming to G province. Yeah. Time all the aquarium without coming to G province. People looking also you define government of Guadalcanal. Yeah. So we will try with all our possibilities to ask him for looking at who has done this and making him null and void that this should not happen. It must come through Guadalcanal province. Yeah. And meaning like this, like if you encounter any development challenges out there. We will not support him well, but we will withstand him out of him. No, recognize him well. Also, how do you expect us to support you? But similarly, also, order to supporting G province in terms of rates, also, what is due to G province for supporting. So we should be working together rather than also like argue and kind of stuff. People are in a position to make a strong system in place so that law can help people for deal with them such situation.
Australian First Nations musician and educator Mr. Jeremy Donovan is in the midst of his second visit to the Solomon Islands, sharing the culture and history of Australia's First Nations people with students in primary and secondary schools. Yan Kaukui reports.
The Australian First Nations musician, artist and educator Mr. Jeremy Donovan has made his second visit to Solomon Islands. After visiting Western and Malaita province in his first visit, this time round Mr. Donovan completed his 2 days visit in Central Islands province and already flew off to visit Makura this morning. Through the support of the Australian High Commission office in Honiara, Mr. Donovan says he is visiting primary and secondary schools to share the culture through music, art, history and culture of Australia's First Nations people.
I came to Solomon Islands exactly this time last year, and it was the most wonderful time, you know, for me coming from Australia and understanding the shared history that we as First Nations people of Australia, as custom people of Australia, and the Solomon Island people have, and a sharing of a tragic history as a result of the blackbirding. It was so important for me to be able to, you know, to come back, to experience custom culture from Solomon Islands, but also to share. So there's a two-way sharing that exists. And so to be able to come back for a second time, I was so excited. To be able to come back and know that I was visiting different parts of Solomon, this time coming to Tulagi, to Central Province, but also then, you know, to be able to go out to Kirikira. It's so exciting.
Mr. Donovan adds, as part of the partnership between Solomon Islands and Australia, the visit is important to enable Solomon Islanders, especially students, to experience and learn the Australian First Nations culture.
You know, I think the wonderful thing about the music is, you know, for so many people in Solomon Islands, especially when you come out to these remoter areas, that television is a privilege that not everyone's afforded. And so maybe at school or maybe on news in a documentary, people of Solomon have seen First Nations people and maybe heard the didgeridoo, but to be able to see it in person has been so exciting for the people of Solomon. It's so unique, it's so different, it's a sound that they've never experienced, and so there's so much joy and so much love amongst the, you know, all the way from the pickaninny to the adults, you know, there's so much enthusiasm about wanting to learn more. So I think it's such an important partnership because not only does it showcase how we are as First Nations people protecting our culture and staying in touch with it and maintaining it, but it is also the possibility of potentially inspiring young Solomon people to engage with custom culture and to have pride and to have hope that this culture is so precious and it needs to be protected.
Meanwhile, principal of Marvin Community High School in Central Islands Province that Jeremy visited, Mr. James McLean, said such visit is so impressive because it highlights the importance of preserving the country's culture and traditions, either it be in music or arts.
I'm looking content and this fella music where him really touching me too because long culture and traditions blame me watermelons and people. Where I'm shown that music and also him about some now all kita beds and also what people blame me before. How other lives, lo ecosystem blame me or inside lo kata lo casa blame me. where him show him that him so important, where Imi should not forget him. Imi should make him for him life, especially local program inside law school. And if kakam today, him some music, him baraba, show him that him really mean him. Also in part long life where all the living things and where all things will stay around us, the environment bring you.
SIBC News understands after completing Makira Ulaf province, Mr. Jeremy will return to Honiara and do his final performances on Saturday and Sunday. Yan Kaukui, SIBC TV.
And now the latest in sports with Crofton Utukana.
The Solomon Islands Athletics Association successfully concluded a two-day workshop on gender leadership, safeguarding and inclusion at the Solomon Islands Football Federation Academy yesterday here in Honiara. The workshop was facilitated by Regan Kama, the Oceania Athletics Development Manager, and Santel Lewis, the General Manager of Sport Inclusion Australia. In an interview with SIBC Sports, Kama explained that the aim of the workshop was to empower both men and women to take on leadership roles and become role models within the country's athletics community.
Today, here in Solomon Islands, we have a program that's also with Sport Inclusion Australia. That means identifying people with a disability to then be promoted and put into athletics just like a normal stream and with all the other athletics participants. To support that and to be capacity building, we need some leaders. And so this program is a leadership course. We do call it a gender leadership course, and the reason we call it gender leadership is because we want to make sure that there's 50-50 men and women. We know in Solomon Islands that sometimes it can be male dominated, but we do then try to work out, okay, why aren't females putting their names up? So we look around and we go, how do we identify females? Is it because they're not feeling capable? Is it because they're not feeling empowered? And so this program is hopefully giving them the tools to be able to put their hand up and to become leaders, role models within athletics within Solomon Islands.
Santel Lewis also shared with SIBC Sports that her team had been working closely with Athletics Solomon Islands over the past year to better understand the importance of inclusion in sports.
So for the last year, we've been working with Solomon Island Athletics. Both Michael and Reggie have been working with a team of support here in Honiara and extending it out to provinces to run programs of athletics and building the capacity of the provinces and the communities to understand the importance of inclusion in sport. So they're primarily working with both students and adults with a disability and building the awareness of inclusion, building the opportunities for people with a disability to participate and building the connections through the sport of athletics.
President of the Solomon Islands Athletics Association, Michael Qualley, emphasized the significance of the workshop as key part of their yearly calendar of events.
Yeah, on behalf of Athletics Solomons, before looking at this workshop, training him very important level for kickstart him na with a calendar of event belum ifala. So as you tell him very important start for me fala, especially this training him all about inclusion, gender leadership, and him very important for me fala garem over the athletes, senior ones, and over the officials, for start what I'm all about, so that what I start applying to activities throughout the year and lifetime.
Meanwhile, President Qualley also took the opportunity to thank Kama and Lewis for leading the workshop for Athletics Solomon Islands. Crofton Utukana, SIBC TV.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.